Hi guys, welcome to hip cars. We are going to show these ones again in a couple different positions. Hip cars are pretty important because the #1 cause of disability in the world is low back pain. And guess what everybody who comes to see us with low back pain has trouble with? Using their hip as a hip and compensating with their back. So usually when we have people come in the clinic, we ask them to show us what their hip moves like, and every single time we have a lot of back compensations instead. So maybe if we make your hip work a little bit better and use it as a hip, your back won't have to work so hard and maybe it won't be so irritated. So we're going to show you a couple ways to do that. We're going to show you one in standing, how to do hip cars, and then we're going to show a specific one to get immediate feedback on whether or not you're using your spine or your hip, and that's going to be on hands and knees. So Erin has a stick here, so she has a little bit of support from balance. You can of course use the wall, you can use a counter, anything, so that you have balance, so that you can really focus on the hip moving and nothing else. So she is going to start in a comfortable position. It doesn't matter how far apart your feet are because you're going to be lifting one of them up. She's going to make sure her belt buckle is tucked and her rib cage is facing her pelvis. She's going to drive the stick into the ground, create some tension, and she's going to lift her leg as high up to start as she can. So go ahead and lift. From here, she's going to bring it straight out to the side, and then from there, she's going to turn her heel towards the ceiling and bring it back and around. That was one circle in one direction. We're going to do one more just like that. So bring it back up a little bit higher if you can. Good. Straight out to the side towards me. Turn that heel down. Good. Sorry, the knee down. Good. And back down. Yes. And rest. So she did a pretty good job of making sure that as she's doing this, her pelvis is not helping her. We are looking at the hip joint. That's right here. This is low back movement. One of the most common positions. Go ahead and come back up into that. Good. Out to the side towards me. So a lot of the times we have a rotation here. Keep your belly button facing straight forward as you bring it out to the side. And then as you start to rotate, what we want to make sure is we're not hiking the hip. And then make sure you all the way go back as far as you can. Go ahead and rest there. What we don't want to see is you cheating yourself of all the range of motion you have back here. Don't forget, you have extension. So we are now going to go in the opposite position. Sorry, not position, but circle direction. We're going to have her turn towards the wall there, so you guys can have a different viewpoint of what it looks like. We're going to go a little more sideways here. Good. Same exact thing, but we're going to go in different direction. Drive into here, belt buckles tucked, brace through your belly. Go ahead and bend the knee. We're going to try to keep that at 90 degrees here, straight back towards me. From there, we're going to make sure she's not dumping her pelvis. Keep it tucked. Open that knee. So open it wide and bring it up, out, and keep bringing it up as you bring it forward, and then back down. These are not easy because you're supporting your other, your weight on your other leg. One more just like that. So belt buckle tucked, bend the knee, straight back towards me, pause, open that knee, up and around, all the way up forward and back down. Good. Now what she wants to do is make sure she avoids any pinching in her hip too. So as she brings her leg up, a common place for pinching is right in the front of that hip. If at any time you feel pinching when you're moving towards that movement, make your circle a little bit smaller and avoid it. We don't want to ever push into that pinching or that sensation. So that is standing. We are now going to demonstrate on hands and knees. So we're going to get rid of this. And we are going to have Erin come down onto her hands and knees in quadruped position. So go ahead and come down right here. Good. Now, same position as always for all the other cars. When she's on her hands and knees, we're going to come up on your toes. We're going to have knees right under your hips. We're going to have a little curve here, and then chest is going to be up. Push the ground away. So push into the ground. Create tension there. Neck is long, so we don't want, go ahead and sag it down. We don't want to forget you have a head, right? So you want to keep your neck long, keep it up a little bit more. Come up through here. Good, good. Now, she is actually going to have something on her back. So I mentioned that this position is a great way to feel when you have hip movement versus spine. If your hip moves, it will be here. If your back moves, it's going to be up here. We're going to put something on your back to give you immediate feedback to feel when your back is moving versus your hip. It kind of expedites the learning process just a little bit. So if you are pro level, you will use a very small ball because it will roll off way easier. Erin's not quite there yet, and I don't want her to kill me when she gets frustrated that it falls off. So we're not going to use the ball. We're going to start with a yoga block. This is going to be level 1, where most of you are going to want to start. So Erin is going to start with taking a nice big breath into her belly, keeping nice good tension, and we're going to do this hip first. So she's going to bring her hip up towards her elbow there, and then straight out to the side, and then from there she's going to rotate her heel towards the ceiling and bring it all the way up and back as far as she can. Now we're going to pause and bring it back down. That was 1 rep. Now a lot of the times we forget about our upper body when we do this. Keep your elbows locked, your chest up. So go ahead and push the ground away a little bit more. Head up just a little higher. Up through here. Good. So we're going to reset, and then we're going to do another circle just like that, slow and controlled, trying to minimize how much stuff is going on up here. Go ahead and bring the knee up towards your elbow. Good. Straight out to the side. Pause. Heel to ceiling. Rotate around. And come back down. Now you'll notice she still is moving in her spine a little bit. That's okay to start. The movement is a spectrum. It's not going to be perfect at first. This will only fall off if it's a crazy amount of movement. So to make this a little harder, you can probably put a cup upside down on your back, and then the hardest is going to be a big ball. So we are now going to go in the opposite direction. So she's going to try to keep her leg at 90 degrees at her knee here. We're going to go up towards the ceiling as far as she can, and then from there we're going to open the knee and bring it all the way out and up towards her elbow as far as she can, and back to the center. And we're going to do 1 more rep. I'm going to make sure she's not moving her back as much. Reset, make sure elbows are nice and tall. Good. Go ahead and come back up. Pause. From there, open that knee, slow, controlled, back to where you started, and come down and rest. We have a little work working on these. You guys probably will as well, but this gives you some feedback, and the better you are at it, probably the healthier your back will be. So enjoy your hip cars.